Hello and welcome to the Stratford Library and the Square One Theater Company's Readers Theater Summer Showcase. I'm Tom Holehan and thank you for watching. Since in-person theater readings aren't possible at this time, we're happy to offer this Zoom presentation of selections from Motherhood Out Loud. These short monologues and vignettes are from a variety of contemporary playwrights, all dealing with the subject of women and motherhood. We begin with Fast Births Feud by Michelle Lowe.
I go into premature labor and my doctor puts me on an IV that makes me feel like I've just had 56 espressos.
I'm in the back seat of a station wagon on all fours, panting like a dog.
After 2 weeks, the doctor says, well, I can take you off the drug tomorrow, but if you go into labor, I'm going to be way out on exit 51 on the LIE for Thanksgiving. So if you don't mind, can we wait a day?
This Japanese doctor has Ben's head by the forceps and he jumps on my belly to get a better grip.
They finally give me an epidural and a lollipop, and I'm thinking, where the fuck is the Jack Daniels?
The nurse comes in and I say, I feel something's happening. She looks at the monitor on my belly and goes, nope, not yet.
I'm pushing like crazy, but every time I stop, the baby gets sucked back inside because the umbilical cord is wrapped around his neck.
The nurse comes in again and I say, look, I am having contractions. She looks at the monitor and says, nope, not yet.
I don't know what's fucking happening to me. I didn't take any motherfucking baby class. I think my body's gonna split in two and I start screaming.
This woman is screaming in the hall.
The nurse comes in again and I am in agony and I say, look, lady, I am having contractions. Another nurse comes in behind her, looks at my belly and says to her, you got the monitor upside down.
Billions of women have done this, right?
I'm praying.
I'm panting.
I'm pushing.
He's my fifth.
My first.
My third.
Oh my God.
I think my third.
Oh, one more push.
One more.
Whatever you do, don't stop.
Here he comes. Holy shit.
Squeeze, Hold, and Release by Cheryl L. West.
Oh, good Lord, now what? Why won't she just get back in the damn car and then just go? You aged 10 years on one of my mother's goodbyes, and she's in rare form today. After all, she's saying goodbye to her first grandchild, my 5-day-old little precious. You're a mother now, my mother sings, punching my dad in the arm so he joins in the chorus. You're in the motherhood club now, your life will never be the same. Bye, Mom, Dad. Yeah, it's been great. Couldn't have done it without you. Yes, I'll miss you too. No, miss you more. Oh, my husband cranks the engine, and just as I think I'm finally free, she jumps out of the car waving a bunch of photos. Damn it, now what? Look at this picture. How many kids do you see here? 4. 4 children. That's right, popped out all 4 of you. No drugs, no science fiction shots to my back. Barely an ouch uttered from my throat. The nurses all wanted to give me an award for being the most silent mother-to-be ever. And you've been making up for lost time ever since. But my point is, honey, motherhood is suffering, and most times in silence. And you just can't operate on that ass-backwards way anymore. Remember, Mom, I'm the one who planned for motherhood. Planning is for shit, smarty pants. God favors your child over you now, so plan on that. You're about to have your heart broken every which way but loose. Watching her eyes brim with tears, I'm starting to feel that maybe her staying another day isn't such a bad idea. Mom, is there anything I should know that somehow I didn't think about? Wrong move. Gentlemen, close your ears. Close them! Okay, honey, here goes. Now, men like to pause at the doorway, not fall in. So whatever you do, you got to tighten that little doorway. Swaddle the little precious, but there's a bigger precious that also needs to be swaddled. Tight, if you know what I mean. It's simple, dear. Just squeeze, hold, release. It's what mothers do all day long, every day. Squeeze, hold, release. 4 kids, 45 years later. I can hold a dumbbell up there for an hour if I had to. Got a bladder like a steel drum. Now that's what you call a mother who is still a woman. Oh, that's it. My husband decides my sanity has been held hostage long enough. He finally gets Mom to put 2 feet in the car, and he whisks her and Dad off to the airport, leaving me standing there, waving, feeling lonelier than I ever have. Bye, Mom. Bye-bye. Wishing I could call her back. But I can't. So you know what I do? Squeeze, hold, release. Maybe your grandma's right. Maybe that's the definition of motherhood. You squeeze your children, you hold them tight, and then one day, eventually, you release them out into the world. But not today. No, not today. Yes, squeeze, hold, release. Oh, uh-oh. No, what now? Oh, Mom!
First Day Fugue by Michelle Lowe.
First day of school.
6 hours to myself for the first time in a decade. Somebody squeeze me.
I'm supposed to drop off my daughter in front of the school and not go inside. They tell me this in a letter.
I tell Katie, when you get to the front door, baby, you wave. And I'll wave. And I'll catch your wave. And you catch my wave.
What do you mean I can't go into my kid's school? Jessica's 4 years old. If I want to walk her in, that's my prerogative. I'm her mother.
And she says, Mama, don't forget to catch my wave. I'm going to wave real big to you.
My son Peter sneezes. I wonder if he's catching a cold. I make him get on the bus anyway.
Katie gets to the door, and all the kids are surging into the school, and she disappears. She's gone. No wave, nothing.
Then I go running up to my bedroom, and I take off all my clothes. I text my husband, darling, there's a naked woman in our bed. What are you going to do about it?
I march into school past this mother who's waving like crazy, like she's landing an airplane. And the principal says to Jessica, hello, my dear. Why don't you come with me? My dear, my ass. She's not going to go with him. But Jessica lets go of me and takes his hand.
My father-in-law texts me back. Sounds good to me.
5 minutes later, I'm still standing there outside the school. The kids have all gone in, but I'm still waving. Waving at the door, I swear I am, till a woman comes over to me and says, oh, you get over it. She's really young, and I know she means well. But I tell her, lady, that's my 5th child who just walked in there. I will never get over it.
Queen Esther by Michelle Lowe.
I pick up Sammy at Lois Baum's house. He plays with her daughter Amy on Thursdays when I work late. And he's putting on his boots, and Lois pulls me aside and says, you know, Purim's in a few weeks, and the kids want to get dressed up in costumes for the Megillah reading at Temple. And I say, oh, great, we'll have to get something. And she says, listen, I don't know how to tell you this, but your son already has something in mind. He wants to go as Queen Esther. He told me he wants to wear a wedding dress. Look, she says, we don't know each other that well, but I love my pediatrician, and he might be very good for you right now. He's very empathetic. So she hands me a piece of paper with the doctor's telephone number on it, and Sammy and I leave. When Sammy was 3, He wanted a Cinderella dress from the Disney store. It was 2 shades of blue with this little cap sleeve on it. And we told the sales clerk it was a birthday gift for a little girl in his class. But when we got home, he put it on. And he wore it every night for 3 weeks. And then I shredded it in the machine wash. He never mentioned the dress again, and neither did I. When he was 5, my mother bought him a Buzz Lightyear costume for Halloween, and he begged me to take it back and buy him a Sleeping Beauty dress, but I couldn't. All this time, Sammy's father is trying to find Sammy a sport. Every other week, he's all over Sammy. This is how you throw a football. This is how you hit a forehand. This is how you dribble a basketball. Sammy's coming home with a broken finger, a twisted ankle, a bloody nose. He never complains. I call Sammy's father and I ask if he could just tone down the ESPN lessons, but he laughs at me. He likes it, he says. He's going to be the next Derek Jeter. And I think, yeah, sure, if Derek Jeter likes to wear a little black dress and pearls. So after my conversation with Lois, I decide to skip Purim this year. I tell Sammy, we'll bake Hamantaschen and go visit Grandma. Sammy loves to bake, and he says, fine. So the costume thing goes away, and a few days later, Sammy comes home with a huge black and blue mark on his arm. He tells me he walked into the art cabinet. I get a phone call from his teacher. Sammy isn't participating in class anymore. Sammy's getting into fights. Sammy's sitting by himself at recess. Then I get a call from Sammy's father. Sammy won't eat. Sammy looks miserable. Sammy's not happy. Then the son of a bitch says maybe we should revisit our custody agreement because it's obvious that something's not right. And I hang up on him, which I know it's a bad move because he can use that in court against me. That night, Sammy's getting into bed, and I say, hey, buddy, I got a call from Mrs. McCarthy. She says you're not really being yourself. And he asks, what's being myself? And I say, being the way you are deep down. A good kid, a confident kid, a happy kid. And he says, Mommy, I just don't feel like myself right now. And I say, you don't feel like yourself? And he says, no, I don't feel like me. Now, the kid is 7 years old, and I'm listening to what I think is psychobabble he's heard on the radio, but he continues. You know what would help? What, Sam? A barrette in my hair? A barrette? Yes, and a pair of high heels. I want to dress up as Queen Esther for Purim. Why Esther? Why do you want to go as Esther? Because the king was going to kill all the Jews, and Esther told him if he did, that he'd have to kill her too. And the king loved Esther more than anybody. Can't you go as Mordecai, Esther's cousin? He was there. But she was the one willing to sacrifice everything to change the king's mind. Mama, she did the right thing. I don't sleep all night. And my kid really wants this. And if I pass judgment on him, what's everybody else going to do? So I go to the Disney store and I buy him the Sleeping Beauty dress. Pink, sparkle, fake organza. And I have it waiting for him when he gets home from school. And he runs upstairs and he puts it on and he calls me to come take a look at him. And he looks great. It looks like him. The way he was supposed to be, like a girl. That night we walk into temple and there are 300, maybe 400 people looking for seats. And all the girls are dressed like Sammy and all the boys are dressed like Mordecai with the ninja swords and headbands. And right away, anyone who recognizes Sammy stares. But I look straight ahead. I don't make eye contact with any of them. Meanwhile, Sammy's having the time of his life. He is spinning in his dress. He's comparing heel heights with this little girl. There are no seats left, so we have to sit in the front pew. And I start praying, dear God, give me a sign. Tell me I haven't totally screwed him up by letting him come like this. I hear people behind us whispering, and I think maybe Sammy can take it, but I can't. We have to get out of here. But the service starts, and we're trapped. And the woman next to me takes a good look at Sammy, and I hear her whisper to her husband, "Look at that little boy. He's wearing a dress. A dress." I look over at Sammy, and the barrette has slipped and fallen in his lap. And he's pulling the elastic on the sleeves because it's too tight on his arms. "Do I look all right, Mama?" he asks. "Tell me the truth." I can feel him shaking. He heard what the woman next to us said. He hears them whispering behind us. So I pick up his barrette and clip it back into his hair. And then I put my arm around him, and I feel him relax into me. He fits right inside my waist, near my hip. We are one again, him and me. We are Esther and the King. And we are invincible.
Sex Talk Feud by Michelle Lowe.
I'm sorry, I have to take a break. Charlene missed 3 days of school last week on account of the flu. She comes home after the first day back, and I say, "So, what'd you miss?" And she says, "Daphne put a condom on a banana."
I hear Landon listening to Eminem on his computer, and as I walk into his room, I hear the word clitoris.
So I say, "Was this at lunch?"
So I think, is this a teachable moment?
She says, "Ma, don't be stupid. It was sex ed. And I heard the condom broke."
I ask him, "Do you know what a clitoris is?" And he says, maybe.
I take my daughter Serena for her first bra fitting, and the woman says we should come back when Serena has something to offer. Those are her words, something to offer.
So I ask, did they give her another condom? Did they let her try it again? I mean, just because it broke doesn't mean she shouldn't use one. And Charlene says, "Ma, relax. It was a banana, not a cock." "A cock," she says.
How do you explain the source of a woman's sexual pleasure to a 12-year-old boy?
So I pull this jerk saleswoman aside and I say, "Honey, I know they're small, but she's only 11. Can you show a little enthusiasm?"
So I go buy a bunch of bananas and a package of condoms.
So I do 5 minutes on clitorises, making sure to mention all 8,000 nerve endings. And he says, "Okay, you can leave now."
Trojans are on special, 2 for 1.
I don't care. These work, right?
So I tell the saleswoman, "I will pay you whatever you want. Just make her feel good about her breasts. They're little, they're perky, they're great." Say it. Say they're great.
They're great, but a lot of women tell me they like the Twisted Pleasure or the Fire and Ice ones.
It's for a banana.
What you got is fine.
Finally, this woman digs out of the back of the drawer this little padded bra the size of a postage stamp and gives it to Serena, and her face lights up like a light bulb.
While Charlene's in the shower, I leave 1 banana and 2 condoms on her desk.
As I leave the room, I hear him call his friend Andy and say, "Hey, don't play Eminem at home. Never. Ever."
Charlene's still in the shower when Amanda, my 10-year-old, comes out of Charlene's bedroom eating the banana. She hands me the condoms and says, "I think these are Dad's."
Michael's Date by Claire Lazebnik.
My son tells me that a girl in his English class agreed to go to the movies with him on Friday night, and I managed to say, "Oh, cool," in the most relaxed, unconcerned, "Hey, it's your life, not mine" kind of a way. I get her name out of him, but not much more. So I check out her picture on the Facebook page. She's actually kind of cute. Oh, and look, she commented on one of his statuses. "Ha ha, LOL." What a doll. I love her already. At bedtime, I pop a Xanax along with my calcium, and I wonder if Michael is as nervous about this date as I am. I mean, God only knows. I seriously doubt he'd talk to me about his feelings. He's male, he's a teenager, and he's autistic. The perfect trifecta for emotionally shutting out your mother. Well, Friday night, Michael puts on this button-down shirt, and I blow my hair, I dry dust on a little makeup, and had a spritz of perfume, and I spent about an hour trying to find something that doesn't make me look fat. I beam at Chloe when we pick her up. Hey there, how are you? It's so great to meet you. Yeah, that's my mom, Michael mutters. They sit side by side in the back seat. I can't stop glancing at them in the rearview mirror. We talk about cute. It's like watching two puppy dogs back there. So I drive them to the cinema. Hey, look at me. I'm dropping off my son and his date. His date. Maybe this is the beginning of a whole new era for us. You see, Michael was diagnosed with autism when he was 3. He couldn't talk or make eye contact, and he flapped his arms all the time. I'd say it's miraculous that he goes to a regular high school now, except that I remember the billions of hours of speech and behavioral therapy it took to get him there. And now he's on his first date. So I'm waiting at the movie theater forever because I get there way too early. But finally, they're coming out side by side and they're heading towards the car. And I'm peering at them. I'm trying to see what their expressions are. But I can't really tell. All I can see is that they're not actually talking to each other at the moment. And that can't be a good sign. But maybe it's not a bad sign either. Maybe it's a companionable silence. When they get in the car, I ask how the movie was. Chloe says she liked it. Michael says it sucked. He says that the lead actress in it sucked, and so did the music and the directing. Chloe says she thought the actress was really good. No, Michael said, that actress sucked. That actress always sucks. Chloe said, no, she doesn't. She's been in lots of good movies. Michael says, you're wrong. They're all bad. And he starts to list each and every movie the actress has ever been in, every one of which, you guessed it, sucked. I can see the expression on Chloe's face in the rearview mirror, and just my heart sinks. Well, to each his own, I call out desperately. So, Chloe, tell me, what does your dad do for a living? And she says he's a lawyer. So, oh my God, I say, my dad is a lawyer too. That's an amazing coincidence, isn't it? And Michael, the kid who never makes eye contact, shoots me a disgusted look in the rearview mirror. So, who's ready for frozen yogurt? I ask, with way too many toppings. Let's make ourselves sick. But Chloe says that she promised her parents she'd go straight home after the movies, and she just shakes her head when I offer to call them. So we get to her house, and she jumps out of the car and quickly thanks us before slamming the door and racing away. I probably should have kissed her goodnight, Michael says. I'm not so sure, I say. Why did you talk so much, he says. That was embarrassing. I was trying to help you make conversation. I didn't need your help. You ruined everything. No, you ruined everything. Oh, and instantly I try to take it away. Oh, God, Michael, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't mean that. You did fine. It was fine, really. She probably just had to go home early, like she said. He's silent. I grip the steering wheel hard and pretend that I have some control over where we're going.
Graduation Day Fugue by Michelle Lowe.
3 days before graduation. 3 days!
My son's giving the valedictory speech, and I know he hasn't written it yet.
Sonia says she's not going to graduation.
Bridget tells me she wants to wear a bikini under her graduation gown, a little string thing.
Eric spends all day at the beach. He goes out all night with his friends.
Does it have to be a bikini, I ask? Half the stuff you wear doesn't cover your ass anyway. Where's some of that?
Has Eric written a speech yet?
No, and don't bug him.
The first one on both sides to graduate high school, and she won't go. I beg her. I plead with her. She says, no way, you're making too much of a big deal.
I start getting phone calls from the other mothers. Am I letting Bridget wear a bikini under her gown? Whose side am I on? Jesus Christ, I gotta pick a side.
Has Eric written his speech yet?
No, and don't bug him.
I've been cooking for 3 weeks. I've got 65 people coming.
I get an email from the principal forbidding the girls to wear bathing suits under their gowns.
I should have forced him to write it last week.
This whole thing's driving me crazy.
This is crazy.
Crazy. The night before graduation, Eric comes into my room and says he has no idea what to write.
I wake her up in the middle of the night and I say, you tell me why you won't go. Tell me, did you do something bad?
Has Eric written his speech?
I'm working on it.
Are they holding you back? And she says, don't be stupid. Then what? I ask, tell me please. And she says, you're all just too damn loud.
I plan with Coca-Cola, and finally, around 2 a.m., he gets an idea, and he writes 3 completely different speeches. He reads them to me at dawn, and each one is brilliant. Brilliant!
So we make a deal. She'll go to graduation if Papi and I go along. The next morning, I tell everybody else not to come.
After breakfast, I tell Bridget, hey, I'll make you a deal. You can wear a bikini under your graduation gown if I can wear a thong under my miniskirt.
Eric's speech was called The Values of Procrastination.
She wore a dress.
Papi and I go along to Sonia's graduation and we sit there. And when they call her name, I take out my cowbell and I ring it. Too bad for her.
Bridal Shop by Michelle Lowe.
Pretty bridal shop.
Oh, yes. I think it's the nicest. We've been to all of them.
First for me. Who are you waiting for?
My daughter. She's already picked out her dress.
Oh, my daughter-in-law's meeting me.
Your daughter-in-law included you? Wow.
Lorraine's a lovely girl. Best thing that's ever happened to our son. He says it all the time. Best thing that's ever happened.
Oh, my son-in-law is a doll.
Lorraine's a baker.
Oh, he's an attorney.
We are so lucky.
We are.
I'm never going to see my son again, am I?
Probably not.
Well, is there anything I can do?
Well, there's a few things.
Well, help me, please.
Okay. Rule number 1, give her space, miles of it. You got advice you want to give her? Write it down and then burn it. Rule number 2, she knows your son better than you do. She thinks that. He thinks that. Now everybody thinks that. And get used to it. Rule number 3, everything she does is fine with you.
She makes chocolate chip cookies with happy faces on them.
You love those cookies.
She wears knee socks with her dresses.
You love those knee socks.
I don't think I like her, but I want her to love me.
Good luck.
Well, there must be something I can do. I love my son.
He's hers now.
You know this?
I know it for a fact.
Well, how?
Okay, well, how often does your husband see his mother?
But I'm going to be different. She's going to love me a lot.
You go, girl.
Well, you'll see.
She did invite you here.
Oh, Lorraine doesn't know I'm here.
What?
I overheard her telling a friend of hers about the appointment, and I thought I'd surprise her.
Oh, my God.
Well, what should I do? She'll be here any minute.
I told you what to do.
Now? That starts now?
Rule number 1.
Torch my advice.
Rule number 2.
I don't exist.
And if you don't exist,
I'm not here.
right.
To hell with the rules. They're archaic. They perpetuate the lack of communication between mothers-in-law and daughters-in-law. They're bullshit.
Oh, look, a blonde wearing happy face knee socks just walked in.
Oh, bye.
Report on Motherhood by Beth Henley.
Great-grandmother? Great-grandmother.
What do you want?
Well, I wanted to ask you about motherhood for my report. I've spoken to mother and grandmother, and now if I speak to you, that'll be 3 generations of mothers.
Oh dear.
Well, I don't need much. I only have a few questions.
I'm very old. It doesn't allow me to be superficial.
Yes, ma'am. That's fine. You are the mother of 7 children, 4 girls and 3 boys.
All of them, yes?
First of all, well, what do you like most about being a mother?
I don't like being a mother.
You don't like motherhood?
It's something I don't do well. I don't love all my children the same. People say you should, but I couldn't. 2 of them I didn't like. 1 I despised. The one that I loved most was quiet, never spoke. A calm person, except for the allergies and the asthma attacks. We took the train to New York about those asthma attacks. The doctors scratched her back with needles and put on various serums to see what she was allergic to. It was legion. Grass, pollen, dust, the sun, the sky, her own skin. She was my favorite. I cut her hair in a pixie cut. I cut all my children's hair in pixie cuts. The girls, not the boys. The boys' hair was even shorter. Children do not like washing their hair, and that is why they need less of it. The tangles. I worried about knots and tangles. How do you feel about having children?
Oh, I haven't given it a lot of thought.
Do you use birth control?
No.
Why not?
Well, I'm 12 and...
Oh, no sex.
No, hell no.
Yeah, when I was your age, we didn't have the option of premarital sex. Birth control was primordial. And through it all, I became very pregnant. And I tried everything, the rhythm method, the prophylactics, the diaphragms, the outside ejaculation, the oral copulation, the illegal abortion, abstinence, none of it worked. Now, you have choice. Many choices. I can't tell you what a different world.
That's good.
Not entirely. Many terrible things are in this world. Apparently, civilization will end in an unfathomable and brutal fashion. But in the meantime, I'm very happy for reliable birth control because we all want to be wanted.
Yes, of course.
The happiest day of my childhood was when my own mother looked at me and said, "I forgive you, Cynthia." "For what?" I asked. "Because you have come uninvited into this household, uninvited, but eventually not unloved."
What did she mean?
She meant eventually I was loved. That's what I hope for everyone. It is not inevitable. Love. Did you know that, Helen?
No. I don't think I want children. I don't want to be a mother.
Oh, good. You can decide as you like. I like your hair. How long it is without the tangles.
Well, I don't really like short hair on me.
No, why would you? You're young. How does it feel to be young?
I have a boyfriend, but he doesn't know.
Oh,
He's shorter than I am.
well, that could change. Have you spoken?
I asked him what time it was. He said he wasn't wearing a watch, but he smiled at me.
Oh, did you smile back?
I guess I did.
You did? Yeah. Good.
Our final reading is My Baby by Annie Weissman.
I'm going to tell you this now while it's fresh in my mind, because I know how time creeps up on you, how it's just one day becoming another, and then all of a sudden it's 35 years. You won't believe that now because you're not even a month old yet, but wait. So I have to tell you this now, what it was like, the day, the hour, the very first moment you were born. This is how it happens. So I'm getting a brisket sandwich with your daddy and doing my dead-on impersonation of this hippie yoga teacher we just giggled through birth class with. And we laugh, and then, gosh, my water breaks. And 1 minute it's jokes and brisket, and the next minute we are driving, going to the hospital saying, but not believing, we're going to be parents. And of course, I know this is coming, this moment when they tell me it's time to push out my baby, and yet you have got to be kidding me. Why don't you just tell me to speak Russian or fly? There's no way. And still, I do it. Here she comes. And I'm thinking, no. I'm still thinking, there's no way. It's not a person. And then, here she is. And oh my God, you are in my arms, and you are a person, warm and wet with bones and hands and swollen little eyes darting back and forth. And you see me, and I see you, and we both cry. You, this dry, rhythmic little wail, and me, this overwhelming flood of love and relief. Hello, my darling. Hello, my baby. Later, they take you off for some tests with your daddy, and I have a moment by myself to relive what just happened. You landed on my chest and took your very first breath. And the morning sun moves across the vinyl floor of the hospital. Oh. And then the next thought comes to me. If you could begin to breathe before my very eyes, you could stop too. As sure as you were born, someday you were going to die, and it could happen any second. Oh! A week later, my mother visits, and it takes her less than 5 minutes to piss me off. She starts with the passive-aggressive questions. Shouldn't she have gained more weight by now? Are you sure that swaddle isn't too tight for her to breathe? And transitions to full-blown irrational diagnoses. She's jaundiced. She's lethargic. Mom, she's a newborn, and she's tired. When she offers a ride to the emergency room, it gets ugly. Mom, I saw the pediatrician this morning, and he said she's small, but she's fine, and we don't need the emergency room, and we don't need you here undermining my confidence. And but before I can finish, my mother, she bursts out into tears. You don't understand. You're still my baby. It hasn't been 35 years. It's been 35 minutes, and you just came out. I'm sorry, but you're my baby. later, I hold your tiny body in my arms and I rock you in the glider until long after you're fast asleep. And I keep rocking until I'm not angry at my mother anymore. I want to tell you this story now, even though you can't possibly understand it. I want you to know why I love you so much more than you will be able to tolerate someday.
Because however old you are, 10, 20, 70, there was still a moment years ago that I will never forget.
When 1 second you weren't there, and the next second you were.
Life began, and I got to be there.
Thank you, ladies. Lillian Garcia, Lucy Babbitt, Janet Rathert. Thank you for watching. For future programs, go to stratfordlibrary.org. And thanks again for watching.